So spring's so unreliable weather-wise that I'm doing a bunch of birds with one stone here today. As you can see, I have a few things here. And this is my current issue. Now, we haven't used this trailer in a long time, and everything's kind of been jerry-rigged in order to work. So there's a receiver hitch that my father set up on this, which I don't want to get rid of. But then I have this old hitch here that doesn't hook into the receiver in a normal way. So I have to figure out some way of coming up with an agreement between the two of them. And the first thing I need to do is take this chain off. And I think that's a 3/4 inch hole. And we're going to get to that. So let's see what happens. All right. Well, that would be nice, wouldn't it? We could use that for a pin. That's almost perfect. I'd like to weld that in there. I don't know if I have time for that today. If you've never seen one of these hitches before, they have a slip sleeve in them. You have to adjust the screw, and this is why I don't use it, because I don't leave my receivers on anything ever. And so now I gotta loosen that off. Fits. So with the hitch sorted out, we're heading to the next lot where I found a tree that I'm sizing up. It's got a rotted base, and this tree's likely going to fall on the barn within the next few years. So cutting through the base of it has been a bit of an issue where the tree wants to fall into the building. So you've seen me there cut across up on the tree itself, and I use a board, a simple board, in order to use for leverage, in order to force that tree against its will the opposite direction. And if you look really close, you can see a crutch board there as well. So I'm going to use all my might here, and I wouldn't recommend anyone do this. I'm going to push this tree against its will in the wrong direction. You can see how big it actually is. And with the rotted base, I haven't cut it clear, of course. I've cut it enough so that it can make the swing and eventually force over. I give it one extra heave here, and all of a sudden this tree decides to surrender and gives up like every other rotten piece of wood does eventually. So we're going to use this tree in order to make a few bases. I'm measuring them out to be 8 feet long. I'm going to put them on the mill, and we're going to make a box to support a greenhouse to keep my plants from dying. Yep, manual labor. Gonna have to flip those logs, and we're gonna put them over onto the wagon so we can haul them down. I've got a few more to go. This was the heaviest one, and we do a little bit of a caber toss in order to get it on there. The next one goes the same way, and the third one is quite a bit lighter. Like I said, I'm planning to make a greenhouse out of these. I'm just gonna mill them on two sides so that they're flat and square. Gives you an idea. So now we're down to the sawmill, and you can see the log on there that I just cut, and there's 3 total. I'm going to be making a 4x8 greenhouse base, and the base isn't to raise the bed. It's merely to hold the structure down against the wind so that I have something sturdy enough to stay in place for the next month or so to protect the plants that I put in the ground from frost. Now I'm only putting the logs in for 2 cuts. There's going to be 2 flat sides. I don't care about the bark. They're fir and they're poplar. They aren't meant to last in ground contact. They aren't meant to last very long. I don't want them to stay there forever. They're just meant there for weight. So if I can get them all down to 4 inches approximately, that's what I'm going to do. And so we set up the mill to take our first cuts, get a reasonably flat surface, and then flip them over. I've used a measuring tape to make sure I have enough space on the short end. The cant of the actual log itself requires that you have a bit of a rise built up in it so that you can have a big square cut. Now this is the beam. The beam is actually twisted and curved a bit. And so I'm taking a very thin veneer cut. There's shims underneath the beam to make up for the space and split the twist between both sides so I don't get a drastic cut making it a rhombus shape. And I'm taking a very, very thin veneer cut so that I can flip it over. This side will become square, and I'll repeat the process, and then I'll do the ends up against the post so that we know that everything is square to each other. If you don't have much experience with sawmilling, I'm not going to get into it right now, but I cut this beam about 4 years ago out of pine, and it's lasted a long time, but some of them just take a twist because of the way the grain is in them. If you're interested in learning more about this, I can do more videos on it. I'll be milling a lot more in the future, hopefully, and I'll be doing a bunch of logs that you'll see in the videos. All right, so we're gonna finish up for today. Sun's almost down. We're gonna cut this one in half, and we're gonna do our ends on all the ends of these boards. We'll get them on the ground, so it'll make sense what I'm doing. And when I turn the camera on again after this, we'll build the hoops and start preparing the ground to put tomatoes into. Let's do some quick cutting here. Everything's 4 inches thick, so whenever they come over and they lap over each other, we're just going to cut them in approximate half. I'll set it back, say a foot on each one to give each one enough wiggle room. Some of them are wider than others, and then it'll allow for there to be some play. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be there as a weight to hold the hoops over the garden. All right. It's like a log house, but not. And that, folks, is a real quick version of a semi-raised bed for a hoop set. So we cut these trees down today, we milled them, and I notched the corners so that I could drive a nail through them, and they sit fairly even with each other. We're gonna have to till the ground, add that manure up there, and then we'll transplant and put our hoops in. It may look like a grave, but it's not. It's gonna be the base for what will be tomato garden. Now, I'm getting rid of a bunch of this topsoil. There's no sense getting rid of it completely. So I'm gonna put it underneath the boards where the frame's gonna sit. So this base only serves one real purpose. It's going to be here to hold the arches for the hoops so that I can cover this up until the frost threat goes away. It serves no other purpose. It's not perfectly square, it's not perfectly perfect. It's just tillable soil that we've removed the top layer of grass, shoved to the edges to kind of support the beams in certain places to level it out just a little bit. And then we're going to plant inside of this with the sheep manure mixed in with the actual ground. So this is PEX pipe. And it's of the UV sensitive kind. And now, I know, it's sensitive to sunshine. Yep. And we're going to use it here so that I can make the hood for this entire caper. But we have to take into consideration whether or not wood would be the best application. It's really hard to bend wood in any sort of a U, find anything consistent enough to shove into holes. And I just need to work for now PEX pipe is probably not the best option for this because it is UV sensitive. It will sit here being worried about sun. It'll deteriorate, but it should last several seasons. It is PEX. It's not going to be flexible. It's not going to move. It's meant to be used in dark space. And they just tell you that to scare you. It's plastic for now. So until it blows away or does something wrong, I'm going to just keep using it for what I think it should be used for. That's what I'm looking for. Yeah, I predicted it. My drill just crapped out. Look at that. This drill is on fire. Well, crap. I need 4 more holes. That's all I had to do. 4 holes. She gave up the ghost. I put the drill that caught fire on the wooden box over there by the house. I'm sure that's fine. There's no battery on it, but it's not smoking anymore. And I've now got about 150 feet of extension cord and a quarter drill. Let's do this. So I have to do something with that. That's clearly an issue. That side just seems to be intent on curling in, so I'll see what I can go get to fix that. Maybe a stick or something to put in there. It is actually really warm in there. I just got out of there, I was sweating so bad. This is where I'll put a few tomatoes in over the next day or so, just to make sure everything doesn't die if I made a mistake. Okay, we're 3 days in now, and we're gonna see whether or not all my plants have died from the near freezing temperatures. Nope. We're in good shape. Well, thanks for watching, everybody. This was a busy week, and there's a few things that I didn't film that if I did, it would have taken about 4 times longer. So I just want to thank you all for watching. The progress towards making the Earthship is coming. I know it's taking a while. It's going to take a long time. We need to get the shop sorted out, and we need to get the facilities right so I have a workspace in order to do all the things that we need to do in order to build a house myself. As far as I know, we're all set and waiting for power to go in. There's been a lot of milestones crossed, and you'll see them come up in a few videos, but for now, I saved my tomato plants, and that was a big deal. So I hope you enjoyed the content. If you do, hit that like button. It does something funky with the algorithm and gets us more subscribers so that we can get more content and maybe eventually get paid to help us build this Earthship in a big way. And thank you for watching. See you now.